all of a sudden not responding?
What's not responding?
Skype. You're froze on the screen.
Yeah, I think it takes a second.
I don't know where Miss Reinhardt is. She's supposed to be here. I don't want to get started until we're just going over my... She's probably hung over. I'm sorry, she's probably sleeping late.
What's her name?
Miss Reinhardt. She's one of my students.
She
She's like taking every math I've ever taught.
Did she pass them?
Oh yeah, she's going to take calculus in the fall.
There you go.
It's too bad you don't teach 102.
102 should not be a class that people fail in. I'm serious.
All right, I got to restart Skype real quick. Hang on.
I can't work in this environment.
Hostile.
Okay, Anderson's got to restart if y'all didn't hear.
Anderson Phil.
I'm sorry, Anderson Hall. I'm sorry. Let me remove, bring back in.
Did yours boot up straight this time? It boot up straight?
Yeah, it did great. I didn't have a problem at all.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Here we go.
Okay. And is there a student in there also? At Anderson, I'm sorry, Pendleton?
Just the one person right now.
Okay, that's what's supposed to be there. All right.
There we go.
Okay, so who we got in Anderson? Who we got there? Anderson Hall. Who we got? I'm
Hannah.
sorry, Pendleton campus. Who we got?
Hannah.
Hannah. Okay, and who we got at the Easley campus?
Zach.
Zach.
Meredith.
And, I'm sorry.
Meredith.
Meredith. Okay. All right. And here at the Anderson campus, we got Christina.
Chantel.
And you had me for 120. How long ago? 100 years ago?
7 years
Oh,
ago.
okay. And you took me again.
Found out I needed it for my degree. Somehow I slipped through the cracks.
Any of y'all had me before?
No.
Okay. Well, you've got, how about my emails? Did you receive my emails
Yes.
over the weekend? As I couldn't do anything over the weekend. I did send an email out on Thursday or Friday of last week that gave you some things to go over because I was having people spaz out and going hammy on me, and I can't stand that. Oh gosh. But we're going to go ahead and start with the handouts. I sent them out today because I sent them out this morning. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of those handouts. And then it'll take us a while to get started because I show you everything the first couple of days. So let's pull up the handouts. And I'm having to get used to this also. Okay, where did they go? They just disappeared. Okay, we'll work through it. Oh, there they are. Why did it do that? Y'all do realize this is the first ever class like this at Tri-County Tech, right?
Yes.
And you know, you all realize that this is like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're about the sixth, besides the people that were standing behind y'all a while ago, we're about the only 6 people on the campus that has any idea what this is.
Okay.
Because we have a lot of dinosaurs on this campus, on the Pendleton campus especially. Oh my gosh, they still send the whole email in the subject line of their emails. I mean, that's how bad it is. But anyway, here's the Math 103 syllabi and handouts. And we'll go ahead and look at the syllabi first. Now, y'all going to have to speak up if you don't see anything because I can only see y'all's face. I can't see what y'all see. So if you pull up your emails, you will see it. And I'll go ahead and pull up the syllabi or syllabus and open it up and we'll look at it. Really, the syllabus for this class is useless. The only thing that's worth anything is the last page. So when you do turn to your syllabus, go to the last page, and there it is. Now, I do things different because a lot of times I have students that take 120 when they take my 103. I know I have 2 students in this class that are taking Math 120 and 103 together. So, since there's 2 units in Math 102 and Math 103 that are identical, I switched the syllabi to where the 2 classes are identical for the first 2 units. So I need y'all to make a note that we're going to do Unit 3 first. I'm going to change that to Unit 1. And we're going to do Unit 4 second. And we're going to do Unit 3 is Unit 2. And then hopefully we'll use up all the time and not have to do Unit 4 because I don't like Unit 4. There we go. All right? So you need to make those notes. And make them now because you're going to forget and then you're going to be confused and then you're going to email me and I'm going to get mad because I don't like to repeat myself. All right? Let me save that because I might have to show it to somebody else. Okay? So, any of y'all taking Math 120?
No.
I know 2 of them in here are. Hannah, what's your last name?
Chakalise.
Chakalise.
Yes.
What origin is that?
It's Cypriot, which is like Greek.
That is cool. Meredith, what's your last name?
Via.
Villa.
Villa.
Oh, okay.
Villa. Yeah.
Okay, that would be Spanish.
Yep, you are correct.
Okay. Zach, what's your last name?
Marion.
Marion. That's pretty much English, is it not?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I like last names because mine's McClure, of course. That's Scottish and Irish. Well, actually, it's Scottish, and my middle name is Chambly, which is Scottish and Irish. So I come from a long line of Scottish and Irish, and we've got Roberts. That's pretty much English, isn't it?
It's married on
Okay. What's your maiden name?
Grant. My maiden name is Waters.
Waters. I don't know if that's English
It's
or not.
Irish.
Irish. And what's your maiden name? Or what's your last name?
Smith.
Smith. Okay. Well, Smith is pretty much, I don't know the origin of Smith.
That's English.
Because that's so, yeah, it's probably Smith. It's probably English. But anyway, I don't know how in the world I got. Now, I do chase rabbits. I do go off in tangents. And if you're one of these people that like Muhammad Gubati, then go for it. But I'm not like Muhammad Gubati. I don't spend 59 minutes on math. If you go to Rate My Professor, hopefully you'll see good things. I'm scared to look at it because there's 3 things I don't like to do. I don't like to hear myself talk. I don't like to see myself on video. And I do not like to see my evaluations because I'm scared to death there's something bad in there. So I don't want to hear it if you see something bad, okay? But anyway, I like to, if y'all ever take 120, the first unit is statistics and the second unit is probability. So if you're in a liberal arts program or if you're in a program that needs 2 maths, there you go, Math 120 and Math 103. The only thing about Math 103 is this kind of a Clemson course because Clemson came up with it because people couldn't pass the course that they were teaching. So they made up a course and then we made it up because, we followed their lead because they had to have people take 103. So the only thing about 103 is you have to check with whoever you're transferring it to make sure it transfers. But most of the time, people already know that before they take it. But the Math 120 is a little bit more generic and will transfer to a lot of campuses. So I just want to tell you that. Now, this page that you got on the screen right now is the most important page of all the handouts, all of them. If you have one of those notebooks that has a plastic covering on the outside, I would slip that in the front of it, the front that has a plastic covering. If you don't, put it on the inside, tape it to the inside, because if you go out and you're out for a week, then you know what I'm covering based on what I covered last. If I covered 4B last and you're out for 2 weeks, you're out for a week, then you know I probably covered C and D and E. And when you come back, that's how you use this. You're supposed to put dates out here, but I'm not going to hold your hand when you go to the restroom, so I'm not going to do that. Usually what you do is you take 10 weeks and divide it by 4 units, and that's 2.5 weeks. And then you go to your calendar and you put the dates here. I ain't going to do that because I don't follow that schedule. All right? We'll be lucky if we get to Unit 4, and if we get to Unit 4, I only see us covering about 3 sections, which is the, I think it's, I can't even tell, I can't even read those, I hate this book, in other words. I don't even understand. I think it's section 3A and 3B, I think is what I cover, but I can't remember. But anyway, that's the most important page. That's why I pull it up first. The second most important page is the one that says things you will be graded on. We'll pull that up, and you need to write that down as the second page. If you have a, well, I thought I clicked on it. If you have a plastic covering on the outside of your book, this will go on the back. All right? I want you to just look over that right quick. I'm going to turn these. Can I turn these lights off? Mm-hmm. Would that be all right with y'all? We got plenty of light. Yeah, we can go to sleep. They won't see us as bad. It says, here are some things that you will be graded on for the course. Refer to your syllabus for the exact number of units. It's supposed to be a period there. Some classes have 4-unit tests, which y'all do. So the rest you can mark off. The only difference in Math 120 may have 4-unit tests, and Math 101 may have 7. That's for other classes. Okay? Oh, thank you. I was trying to get a little bit darker. Okay? And homework online is started when I start the material. Now, I know some of y'all are sitting there and going, why is he saying that? Because I got some hammies. I got some people that they want to try to do 3 or 4 sections the first day of class. All right? I'll address that in a little bit, but hopefully don't have too many hammies. And if you ever seen Hammy the Squirrel on what's that cartoon movie? Hammy the Squirrel?
Ice Age?
No, it's not. Well, the squirrel on Ice Age is about the same. Yeah, he's about the same as Hammy on. It's the one where they go through the shrubbery into the houses.
Nut job.
No, it's called Hedge, Over the Hedge, or something like that. Hammy is a squirrel that's jumping around and he's very hyper. Well, that's what I call the students that want to know when's the test due, and I haven't even covered any math yet. And y'all all know the type I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, they drive teachers crazy. Teachers can't stand those students, so don't do that. Homework deadlines will be posted on MyLabs Plus. Now, let me go ahead and say this right now. You're going to see where it says online test via Course Compass, all right? Whenever you see the word Course Compass, just mark that out and put MyLabs Plus, okay? MyLabs Plus and Course Compass is the same. The difference between Course Compass and MyLabs Plus is before Tri-County Tech got on board 3-4 years after I was using Course Compass, like in 2000, students had to register themselves. So you would get a student ID and a course ID and all that, and you would register yourself onto Course Compass. Course Compass is MyLabs Plus, but MyLabs Plus is the engine where the school puts you in there by the enrollment. So you don't have to register yourself. You just have to go in and say, hey, I'm a student. You have to type in access code. We'll talk about the access codes in just a minute. For example, and I have to put this is made up because of the Hammy students, because they'll think I'm covering Chapter 8 tonight when I go over this. If we are on Unit 1 and it covers 8.1 through 8.8, when we get to 8.7, what should that be telling you without me even saying anything? What should that be telling you?
The test is coming up.
Zach, I'm so proud of you. I'm just amazed. Let me tell you, we get some students that just sit there and go, like Patrick Starr. And I'm serious. I mean, they have no. Okay, when we get toward the end of a session, and that's why that first handout is so important. You have to read that handout like a schedule at camp. You know how you go to summer camp and there's a schedule? You have to read that thing like that, except it's weekly instead of, every day. And you have to look at it and say, okay, let's see, there's only 4 sections here, and he's on the 3rd section, so we're going to have a test pretty soon. Now, the way I do test, and Miss Smith, you're the only student that's had me before. Do you remember how I do test online? Do I just spring it on you and you have no idea? Or do I go through it with the class and tell you the dates and all that?
You can do that.
Okay. I do not, I changed to Andy Griffith because some people screws that up. So I finally started putting questions on the test like, what day is it? And I still get people get it wrong. But anyway, as she just said, I go through and tell you when I'm going to load the test. I go through and show you the test, not the test, one like it. Because, and we'll get to the test when I talk about the test, but it's algorithmically generated, it's scrambled. So it's kind of like a snowflake. Hannah's test, Hannah and Zach could be taking the same test side by side, but they will look nothing like each other. All right? Different numbers, different order, different questions. And I'll get to that when we get to the testing, when we get to My Lab Plus, which will be, does this class meet every day?
Yeah, Mondays and
Monday,
Wednesdays.
Wednesday.
Okay,
Monday,
Wednesday. When I say tomorrow, that means Wednesday. When I say Wednesday, when I'm in class on Wednesday and I say tomorrow, that means Monday. Okay, so I don't need the hammies going, we don't meet tomorrow. You know what I mean by tomorrow, the next time the class meets. All right, so use a little bit of common sense when you're talking about when's the test date. You don't need to ask me that. You know by the schedule. You can print out the homework and do it on your own the conventional way. I'll show you how to do that Wednesday. I'll show you how to print it out, and you can do it, like back in the 6th grade, paper and pencil, and then you can go and type in the answers. Or you can do it question by question on, just have a piece of paper and do it off the computer, however you want to do it. If you don't see a start date or an end date, that next sentence is very important. I'm going to try to blow this up a little bit. Where's the zoom on this thing? I forget to zoom every now and then, so let's just blow it up a little bit. Maybe 150. There we go. If you don't see a start date or end date, you don't need to worry about it. We get so many students that are worried about how many sections I cover. Who's the only person that needs to be worried about how many sections we cover? Me. So y'all don't need to worry about it. If I don't cover but 2 sections, you don't need to worry about it. You need to worry about the deadlines when we get toward the end of a unit. Online test. Now this is an ongoing battle with me. I have been giving online tests since my 3rd or 4th semester on campus, and that was 1995. I started bringing in the Interact Math in 1998, and they were little 3.5 drives, and people were doing tests on, and then they'd print it out, and then they'd already be graded, and all they had to do was turn it in to me. We were doing that back a long time ago, and I found out that, if you put an alarm system in your house and you put a fence around your house, is your house thief proof? No. Why? Because somebody will always be able to what? Get in. Somebody's always going to cheat. So and some of these teachers are like, oh, you can't give online tests because somebody's going to cheat. Somebody's going to cheat in your classroom. I mean, and I'm just saying, the people, and most of the time, and I'm preaching to the choir in the summer, because most of the time, your high-end students take summer classes, all right? Now, when I mean high-end, I mean students that make a B or better, usually. And I know I'm talking to the choir, preaching to the choir, but, I have to go over this stuff because it's usually in the syllabus, but you can't read it in the syllabus because Philadelphia lawyer couldn't read that syllabus, so that's why I have to put it on a handout. Online test, but I have fights. In fact, one of the teachers that we had a meeting with the math teacher and the speech teacher because speech is doing it. And they said, well, what are you going to do about test? I said, well, what do you do with online classes? Well, we give the test online. I said, well, that's what I'm going to do. And they had a fit, and I said, it's called academic freedom. The teacher has academic freedom. And that's micromanaging 101. But anyway, I will give you 2 chances to take the test. Ms. Smith, does this look familiar? Mm-hmm. Ms. Smith has done this before. Course Compass, strike that out, put MyLabs Plus, will take the higher of the 2 grades. I will give you 7 to 10 days to take the test. That's because some of y'all have 7 dead grandmothers and 5 flat tires, usually on test day. And that's why I give you 7 to 10 days. Would you believe I still have people make zeros? Yep.
Oh my God.
You take the test on your time, not class time. Multiple choice and open answer. You can print and review the test after you have taken it. Okay? Let me ask you a question. Hannah, have you had MyLabs Plus before?
Yeah.
What class? I'm just curious.
I had it for chemistry and for math before.
What math? Do you remember what math you took?
Math 111.
Oh, you took trig.
Yeah.
Who'd you have? Was it somebody here?
Yeah, I had Miss
Cal-
Whitmire.
Who?
Miss Whitmire.
I don't believe I know her. Okay. I teach trig here at the Anderson campus. That's why usually Miss Califomo teaches. I know she teaches it a little bit. Zach, have you had MyLabs Plus?
No, I haven't.
Okay. What was the last math class you took, and how long ago?
I took 140 first semester, I guess fall of 2016. Yeah.
Now you took trig and you took Calc 1. Why y'all taking 103 just for a sleeper course or what?
Well, I didn't do too good.
Okay.
In the
Well, you need to
140.
see. I teach calculus here at the Anderson campus, and hopefully we can get a calculus with this, and I can do a whole lot better. I do good with calculus. I love calculus. Meredith, what did you take last, and how long ago?
I had my last class for 120.
Okay.
Math was-
Did you take it at the Easley campus, or where did you take the 120?
I took it easily with Miss Smith.
Okay, Miss Donna. Okay, and how long ago was it?
Yeah. About a year ago.
Okay. Well, if you still got your notebook, use your notebook for Unit 1 and Unit 2 because that's what we're going to be doing in here. And I won't talk about your experience because you had a terrible experience. And you've had me before, but was that the last math class you had?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how long ago was it?
7, 8 years ago.
Okay, do you remember MyLabs Plus a little bit? Or was it Course Compass then?
I can't remember.
Okay. Now, I know you've had MyLabs Plus. So everybody except for Zach has had MyLabs Plus. Did you have WebAssign when you
Yeah.
took 140?
Yeah, I did.
WebAssign sucks.
Yeah, I did.
SUBKS, capital letters. All right?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It is the most frustrating thing to work with that I've ever worked with, and I've worked with several of these things. This is the Rolex. MyLabs Plus is the Rolex. WebAssign's not even a Timex. It's not even a Mickey Mouse watch. I mean, it's awful. Anyway, where did you take the Math 140?
Pendleton.
You have Dr. Gobati? Or Matthew Anser?
What?
Who did you
I had
have?
I had Peppers.
Oh, Miss Pepper, she was my college algebra teacher at Tri-County when I was there. But anyway, I'll shut up. You can review and print out the test, and our test is going to cover 4 units, and I've already covered that. Okay, here's a test question right here. What is the makeup of our class? Unit test, 60%. Homework is what?
20.
And final exam is 20%. That is a test question. Another test question is your test online? Yes. Another test question. Course Compass will take the higher of the 2 grades. That's a test question. I put these test questions. Some people give quizzes. A while back, there was a thing that told us, the department heads, a thing came down from administration saying that we have to incorporate our handouts and the syllabi into our class somehow in some kind of documented form. So I just started putting easy questions on the test from the syllabi and the handouts. And I don't know if some other teachers have done that with y'all in quizzes or homework or whatever, but they're supposed to be doing it. But heck, I don't do one little thing and I get in trouble. Other people, they do all kinds of crazy stuff and they don't ever get in trouble.
Oh, me.
Anyway, all right, that's the two most important handouts. Now, the third handout that I pull up is just whatever one I'll pull up me. The reason I pull this up is I'm not full of myself. That's not right. I'm pulling it up. The reason I pull it up is for the highlighted sections. There they are. Now, if you don't have this material, understand because I sent it out this morning. But if you're pulling it up on your computer, then you can see it. The main thing is my cell number right there. Make sure you write that cell number down because I'm a cell phone junkie. In other words, everything comes through on my cell phone. If you want to email me, it'll come through on my cell phone if I'm not in my office. To me, if you're going to carry a cell phone, you need to be accessible. And if your cell phone goes off, that's not a big deal. I'm not going to have a cardio infarction or whatever they call it. I'm not going to have a meltdown if your cell phone goes off. To me, that's hypocritical, especially when you have a cell phone in your pocket and you're teaching a class and you tell your students not to use a cell phone. I don't do that. So mine will go off. And sometimes I made sure I set it, since this is such an important pilot class, I made sure I set it on vibrate today. But anyway, this is just a little bit about myself. Here at the Anderson campus, it kind of helps to show that I'm from Anderson, and that's one of the reasons I do this. Another reason I do it is back when I was teaching at the in Pickens 122 back a long time ago when it was puke yellow on the inside. That campus used to be, every room was puke yellow. Every hallway was puke yellow. And in Pickens 122, that's where I taught for several years. I used to hand out index cards, and students used to put where they worked, where they went to high school, their favorite color, their favorite music, just all kinds of little things, about 10 things. And we would mix up the cards, and we would pass them out and try to guess who was who. And that was kind of a way to make the class a little bit more comfortable, to break the ice. And then, of course, students started screwing it up and couldn't listen. So I quit doing it. But I kept this. And the reason I did this is because I think it's very hypocritical to ask the students to do that and not tell something about yourself. And one of the best things for a comfortable learning environment is for a teacher to break the ice. That's one of the biggest things in my opinion. And think of it the alternative. You ever been in a class where you go through a week and you don't even know your teacher's name? Because they haven't told you, or they haven't even communicated that to you, or where they work, or where their office is, or anything like that. I'm the opposite of that, and starts off with telling a little bit about me. But that's a little bit about me. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that, but that's another handout. Class courtesies. Now I don't have to talk about this very much with y'all because I only got 6 students. Miss Reinhardt's not here yet. Usually during the summer, I don't have to talk about this. In the fall, when I get all the high school junkies, oh my gosh, I have to go through everything. But here, I'm talking to a 140 student, a 120 student, a 111 student, a 120 student, a 103 student, a 120 student, a 103 student. I'm not talking to a bunch of high school students, so I don't really have to go through this. And plus, we're a little bit laid back here with only 6 people. Miss Reinhardt took Math 111, and she's taking my calculus in the fall. So again, I don't have to say that, but this is just a little bit about what I am. Again, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. You can read it. Let's talk about attendance. The only reason I'm going to talk about attendance is because let's say that Meredith has to go work. She works at BFE, whatever, and she has to go to work at 9 o'clock in the morning, and her boss said, if you don't show up, I'm going to fire you, then she needs to Skype in for some reason, or 10 o'clock, or whatever, and she needs to Skype in. She's welcome to Skype in. But just be prepared to Skype in. Don't call me 5 minutes before class and say, how do I get Skype on my computer? Okay, you need to already have Skype for Business on your computer. And I give you I'm going to give you a handout about that. We'll look at it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. But let's say that, and I record these and I put it up on YouTube. We'll look at that in just a minute. So I give you all the avenues not to miss class. And now I can give you attendance for Skyping in. I can't give you attendance for looking on YouTube because I don't know if you did look on YouTube. So for attendance purposes, I do accept Skype. I'm not a paperwork person. There's two things I really don't like, and one of them is paperwork. I don't like bureaucracy, so I'm not going to drop any of you unless somebody tells me to drop you, like your family, student records, financial aid, or any of my bosses tell me to drop you for some reason. I'm not going to sit here and drop you and say, oh, well, Zach has missed 2 days. One more day and I can drop him. I'm not that kind of teacher. So you don't need to worry about me dropping you. The only person that can drop you is you or somebody other than me. So I'm not going to drop you. I do take attendance with attendance tracker for the bureaucrats that have a job because of attendance tracker. Okay? And if you get an email from attendance tracker, it's going to say, you should check in with your instructor. That's not for me. Okay? I could care less, if you, I don't like to say it like that. I care about my students, but, it's none of my business. You're paying for this course. It's none of my business why you're not here. You're an adult. Okay? So anyway, that's the attendance policy in Hubert's class. For those of you that are here, anybody that's had me before, if you cross the threshold of the classroom and have to leave, I count you here. But that's the only reason. That's the only two. Skyping in and crossing the threshold. And if I see y'all in there and then you leave, I've counted you here. So that's how that works. Okay, you can read this. Again, I don't think I have to worry about it in here because most of y'all are veteran students and you're not high school teeny boppers. All right. Office handout. No, I want to go over the YouTube. There we go. YouTube and etc. handout. I did this one Friday. I didn't send it out to you. I sent them all out at one time. Okay. Videos are provided for students that need an overview of the material. Absent during class or seeing the class for the first time, or seeing the material. Should have said seeing the material for the first time. And need to go over more than once. Viewing videos is not mandatory. Now the reason I have to put that is I teach online classes, and I had a couple of students fussing because they have to watch every single video. I didn't tell them to watch every single video. All right, so I had to put that in there. If you want to do it generically, just go to www.youtube, search for Hubert McClure, click on the blue shirt, just like the one I got now. Middle of the page, click on Created Playlist, click on the class you want to watch, click on the subject you want to watch. Okay? Here's Skype. Now there's a Skype handout that I've sent you. You can follow that, but I'd go over that also. I, as an instructor, realize that things happen. It's supposed to be things. So I tell my students to reserve Skyping in for those things like kids, daycare, illnesses, flat tires, car trouble, family emergencies, or anything that disrupts your daily routine and presence in class. You will be counted present, but please do not abuse this privilege. Load Skype for Business, log in using TCTC email and password, text me a few minutes before class, first name, last name, and asking to Skype in. That's pretty self-explanatory. Registering on to My Labs Plus. Now this is where we get into a little bit of information. Temporarily disable any virus, malware, protectors on your device, meaning your laptop or your home computer. Go to TCTC Blackboard just for the first time. Don't ask me why they want you to go through Blackboard. I don't know why. I told them when they set this up, I said, you do not need to go through Blackboard because half the time Blackboard's down. So don't do that. But they did it anyway. But they fixed it to where you only have to go through your initial registration. Don't ask me why.
I can't find it on here.
Well, there should be over to the left something that says bridge to. Oh, you got to click on the class.
Well, maybe that's
Yeah.
because I don't have your class
Yeah, you got
yet.
to register for it.
I did, but I'm not yet.
Yeah, it'll be 24 hours before you're on there. Look for Bridge to My Labs Plus. Look for and click on the security shield. You know those security shields that you get and you say allow, cookies or whatever? It's going to ask you to do that, but you got to look for it. Usually it's in the top right-hand corner. And then log on to My Labs Plus using email without the tctc.edu and your T number. Make sure you include the T and make sure for the password, make sure it's a capital T. Now, you will be asked to choose one of the three options after you click onto your course. 1, use 14-day trial period. Those are for students waiting on their scholarships, refunds, or waiting on money to be in the bank. Half the time I'm waiting on money to be in the bank because I'm a spender, not a saver. So all the time I'm on 0. Access code. That's for students that already have an access code. You get your access code one of 3 ways, and I go through this in another handout. 1, you either get it with your text when you buy a text or buy a book. Comes new. You can buy them in the bookstore, but they never order enough. So your third bet is to get it online. When you register, it's going to ask you, do you want to buy an access code? And it's usually about $20 cheaper online if you get an access code online. Do you need a book? Well, every access code, every time you get into My Labs Plus, you have an electronic book. It's called an ebook. So you get a book when you get the access code, only it's online. So you can borrow a book, use a book, used book, new book. You can share a book. You don't even have to bring a book. But if you want to bring out printed sections of the ebook, you can bring that, put it in your notebook, bring it to class. After you type in the access code, buy access code online, it should take you to the course or the inside, the internals of the course. Okay? That's a little bit of a rundown of that. There's another handout for that, and I'll show you that in case you need it, like somebody like Zach who's never used My Labs Plus. Here it is. My Labs Plus student login. Open.
Do you have the independent course ID?
You don't need a course ID for My Labs Plus. That's for Course Compass. You only need the access code.
Okay.
Tri-County Tech does that. Here is the My Labs Plus handout. It tells you how to get into it. Tells you if you have any trouble, who do you contact right there? Dr. Gobati or Dr. Marshall. Okay? The preferred browser. Make sure you make a note of this. Now, I've had students call me and say, I'm on Mozilla Firefox and I'm getting a white screen with nothing on it. And I'll tell them, well, go to Google and boom, it'll work. And then some people will call me, they're on Google and say, I got a white screen. I'll say, go to Mozilla Firefox and it'll come up. Don't ask me. I didn't invent the thing. I don't know why it does that, but it's a whole lot better than WebAssign, let me tell you. Okay? And it says do not use Internet Explorer, but I've had students try Chrome and Mozilla Firefox, and when they pull up Internet Explorer, it comes up fine. I don't know. So whenever you get a white screen or something is not showing up, like a test question or a homework question, or just showing a white screen, the first thing you need to do is switch engines and see if that helps it. Okay? Don't ask me why. There's the shield. If you are using Chrome, Google Chrome, you may have to click on the shield in the top right and then click Load Unsafe Script. All right. Now, I have been using Pearson products since 2000. Tri-County Tech has been using MyLabs Plus since, I don't know, maybe 5 years, last 5 years. So I've never had a student tell me they've gotten a virus from Pearson, and that's who makes MyLabs Plus. I've been using it on my laptops and desk computers and my office computer since 2000, and I've never had any problems. So I don't think you will have any problems. Here's how you go to Blackboard. Now, after you have logged on the first time, you can go to www.mylabsplus.com and you can log in from there after you've gone through the registration process. And I would highly suggest that, because if you rely on Blackboard, there's about a 20 to 25% chance that when you need to get on Blackboard, it's going to be down. All right? So I would highly suggest that you go to www.tctc.mylabsplus.com. And I think I've got that somewhere on your handouts, but if not, I'll pull it up here in just a minute. But that's for somebody like Zach that's never been on MyLabs Plus. So there it is. There's the three options. Pay later, that means I'm waiting on funds. I want to go ahead and start my homework or go ahead and start whatever. And I got 14 days. Oh, 21 days. 21 days. I thought it was 14 days. They must have extended it. Buy now. Okay? That means I want to buy it online and go through and type in your debit card or whatever and pay for it. Access code. That means you got it at the bookstore or you got it with your text. Do not. And if you do, it's kind of like, you know, when you go to a hotel and you go to the swimming pool and there's a sign that says swim at your own risk. Well, same thing. If you go to Amazon or you go to eBay or BFE.com and you get an access code, that's on your own risk. Because there's so much stuff out there. There's different courses, different colleges, different courses inside of courses. In other words, like accounting lab. Like that, there's so many, there's a high chance that you could get something from eBay or Amazon and you spend $25, you save $50 or $100 and you get nothing because you can't get on. And that's between you and Pearson and eBay. That doesn't have anything to do with Tri-County. It doesn't have anything to do with me. So if you take the chance and go into Amazon or eBay and you get an access code and it doesn't work, that's all on you. And that's why I do not have anything in my handouts that says go to Amazon or eBay. Usually I'm very student oriented and I try to help students with money. I try to help students with grades. I try to help students. But when it comes to that, I do not suggest that at all, because you will get burned. And some people even sell them and they've already used them. And that's just wrong. Okay? Because you can only use an access code one time. Your best bet, bookstore, online. Okay, and there's the three choices right there. Okay, I'm going to get off of that. I think I've got a handout in here. Where did my... Oh, I hate this. Maybe one day when people start using email on dadgum class, they'll extend the logout time. Sorry about this. I'll just pull up this one. There's one I wanted to show you. I think it's called the... Okay, how do you get Office right here? Now I've got a PDF file and a document file. I put both of them on there. They were sent to me by the IT department because I didn't want to reinvent the wheel and rewrite the directions for the Office 365. I don't know how many of y'all know this, but as a student, you can get 5 free downloads of Office 65. That means if you've got 5 computers at home or 4 computers and a phone, you can put it on there. This includes everything. Skype for Business, Office, Excel, Microsoft Publisher, Microsoft PowerPoint, everything. Some people don't even know about this. So that's why I make sure I tell all my students, and it'll tell you how to get started. Go to the portal right here, portal.office.com, type in your TCTC information, your T number for your password with a capital T, and it should redirect you to the Tri-County Tech page, and then you log in there and you'll hit a button that says, you'll get to a screen that has all the Office programs on there, and then install. And it'll install all of them on there, and then you'll have Skype for Business. So make sure you do this if you haven't done it. Make sure it's on your laptop, make sure it's on your tabletop. The phone works. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I would use the phone in case of an emergency as far as Skyping into class, but that's up to you. And that's all about that. I'm not gonna go into that. I just wanted to show you what the gist of it was. And the reason I'd want you to do this is, one, you're paying for it. Two, because nothing is free. Two, you need it because of the Skype. If you ever have me, not in this case, because I know, Hannah, if you get in an emergency situation, yes, you can Skype in, but you're the only person there. And if you don't come in, I doubt I'll be able to see anybody up there. There were 2 or 3 more students that were on the roll before the purge. So I don't know if they're going to add the class or if they added another class. Did y'all see the times change on this class?
No.
So somebody told me that it was 10:30, and then it switched to 8 o'clock.
I think it was. It was. A few weeks ago, yeah.
Okay, thank you, because I told her, I said, I don't know, because I post all my future classes on Facebook so the students can see what I'm teaching the next semester. And she said, on your Facebook page it says 10:30, and I'm like, oh God. So they might have saw that the time changed, and they might have, took another class or whatever. Okay, so that's that handout, and I think there's one more. My Labs Plus, I did that. I think I've covered everything. Yeah, I have. So that's all my handouts. So does anybody have any questions so far about the handouts or the syllabi or anything like that? Okay. Well, what we'll do now is go ahead and get a little jump on My Labs Plus. And just to let you know, I haven't even seen my course yet because it was just loaded today, just like y'all's classes on Blackboard has been loaded. So, oops, I didn't type in the right thing. Told y'all to type in the right thing, and I didn't type in the right thing. I typed in My Labs Plus. tctc.mylabsplus.com. That's the website. And it'll look like this. And it'll say Tri-County Technical College. If it doesn't say Tri-County Technical College at the top, then you're not on the right page. So remember, make a note and highlight it. If you don't have my handouts, or if you didn't pull them up and highlight that, highlight it on your computer right now. Make sure you go to tctc.mylabsplus.com. And it should say Tri-County Technical College at the top. Type in your username. Now, Hannah said she had My Labs Plus before, so she needs to use whatever password. If she changed her password from her T number to another password, then she can use the old password. Zach, you're probably going to be using your T number because have you ever been on My Labs Plus?
No.
Okay, then you will use your T number, capital T, and then whatever your T number is for your password. Your H. McClure is my email address at Tri-County Tech without the tctc.edu. Hit sign in. Okay. I didn't type in my T number. There we go. And it should have my new classes up. There they are. Oh my gosh, he said. Well, that's wrong. They set it up with 3 different classes. They didn't need to do that. Now I got to go to each one. That's pain. We're going to have to discuss that. Okay, I'll shut up. But here is, let's say, I don't know which one's which. I would say that is Pendleton campus. Let me see if that's, we'll see in just a minute. But anyway, that's what it looks like. You type into make sure you type into your section. And when it comes up, you're going to have a calendar. And there's the calendar. Now, the good thing about the calendar is, if anything's due, it'll show up on the calendar. And you can look all the way through the month, and of course, there's nothing due, so you don't need to worry about it. The 3 most important buttons on the side here is homework. Now, if you was to take a guess what that button does, what would you guess?
Just our
Hold
homework.
up homework.
Now, y'all laugh. I get 3 or 4 emails every semester. I can't find the assignments. And guess what they're doing? They're on Blackboard looking for my assignments. Now, somewhere on the handouts, I said 3 or 4 times, I do not use what? Blackboard. I do not use Blackboard. Okay?
It's not in
Do not go to Blackboard looking for my assignments. You'll be looking for a long time. I do everything on my Labs Plus. So please don't go to Blackboard and write me an email. Will I respond? No. Now, let's talk about that. If you send me an email or ask me a question that I've already covered, then I'm not going to respond. Sometimes I don't respond because it's not that important and we'll cover it over the next class. So like if you call me or email me and say, Hubert, I've got a problem with number 3 on homework 3.2. It doesn't have the right answer or something that's saying that I'm wrong and I put in the same answer, then I might not respond. Now that doesn't mean that that's a negative response. It just means that you need to take it up with me after class and we can do it online. I'll have this, I'll pull it. You stay in your classroom, AD hall or EC hall or EC campus. You stay in the classroom, everybody leaves, and you just act like we're sitting in class together and say, can we look at my problem? Usually I'm very laid back. The only time I get real finicky is when you call me up a week after the test is over and you say, I didn't know there was a test. Chances are I'm not going to respond to that after I give you a week to take the test. Okay? And you got a calendar right here that shows you when the test is due. So I'm not going to do that. But homework, you click on homework. We're going to go over that in just a minute. I don't want to go over it right now. I want to go over it last. Or tests last, whatever. Quizzes and tests. Now, what do you think that means? That means your test. Now, when you click on quizzes and tests, you're not going to see anything from me. Let's go ahead and tell you what's on there. Anything that's going to be above this line, right? It's going to be in this area or this area up here. It'll say Hubert's Unit 1 test. It'll say Unit 1 test. It'll have Roman numerals, or it'll say Hubert. Okay? These are generic tests. These come with the book no matter what. These are not graded. I mean, they're graded, but they don't count for you or against you. All right? These are tests that some people use for teachers that don't want to do anything and make tests, so they just use these tests. And the teacher can go through their grade book and make these part of your test, make these part of your grade. They're generically defaulted not to be part of your grade because there's more teachers not using them than using them. The teacher that would use this would be an independent study type session, which means that you work at your own pace, or they don't want to make tests, so they just use these tests. But we're not going to be that. We're not going to do that. My test will be up in here, and there'll be a difference. You'll see the difference, and I'll show you when the first unit test rolls around. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay? So that's where quizzes and tests are. I do not give quizzes unless y'all want me to give y'all quizzes. I don't do that. All my tests are online, and they'll show up here, and the final exam will show up here also. Okay? Grade book. That's a test question. I think it's 2 test questions. What does the grade book do? One test question says it keeps up with my grade and gives me a final grade at the end of the semester. That's one of the test questions. Another one says what does grade book keep up with? And then I say 4 different things and you pick the answer. Why do I have to do that? I get students at the end of the semester asking me what my grade is. And we have been on My Labs Plus the whole time. And so I have to cover a grade book because students will just look at it and go, I wonder what my grade is. And they'll just have their pointer sticking right at grade book. I guess it's just there to guess your temperature, Grade book. We have these people, and they have driver's licenses, and they procreate. You know these people I'm talking about, don't you? I mean, they're the deadest of the deadheads. I mean, they are. These students, they enroll for 3 online classes and don't even have a computer at home. Y'all know who I'm talking about?
Yeah.
All right, so there's the 3 most important for what you're doing. These 3: grade book, quizzes and tests, and homework. The only other one is this one right here, chapter contents. This is how you get to your ebook. Let's say that you don't have a book, and you pull up your handout, you pull up your outline. That's why the outline is so important. It's the number 1 most important handout that I've given you. And you say, I wonder what he's going to go over first. Well, Unit 1 is 5A, 5C, 5E, which is all read. I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to go ahead and get started on Chapter 5, read those 3 sections, because in Math 120, the first 2 chapters on the outline, I don't know the chapter numbers, is reading. Am I right, Meredith? You remember that? It's
do.
all reading. You remember? You don't remember? She was on drugs at the time. She was high on something. I'm just kidding. No, you were drunk. That's what it was. You were drunk. Anyway, the first 3 sections right there, and some of chapter 6 is reading. So for some of y'all that want to get a head start, you can go ahead and read those 3 sections, 5A, 5C, 5E. You can go ahead and read because that's all it is. But anyway, I go to 5A. I don't have a book because I didn't buy a book because Hubert told me not to buy a book. That's usually what students say. He told me not to buy a book. Didn't say nothing like that. And go to 5, and go to A, and then go to multimedia e-text, and that's what you print out. Pull that up, and you have a book. You can look at it, or you can look at this as soon as it comes up. Eventually, it'll come up. Sometime in the next 15 minutes, it'll come up. And this is page 286. If you turn to page 286 in your book, it'll look just like this. And if you want to print it, there's a button somewhere right here, print. And you hit the print button, and you can print out. I think you can print up to 10 pages. And most of the sections of 5A, 5C, and 5E, most of them are less than 10 pages. So you can print 5A, 5C, 5E, and then whatever 6 is, print those out, put 3 holes in them, put them in your notebook, boom, you've got the book for Unit 1. And see, that's a whole lot better than carrying a book around or paying for a book if you don't want to. But you have to have the access code to get to it. And the access code is why it's most important. Okay? So chapter contents gives you access to the ebook. Now, what is study plan? Study plan is not for grade. It is basically for you to do extra problems other than the homework that I give you. And we'll get to the homework in just a minute. Where'd Zach go? You still there, Zach?
I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Meredith talked. Okay, there he is. Meredith talked and the camera shifted to her and I can't see. Now I can see you. All right. Was he there the whole time? No. Something changed on the bottom. Okay, I'll shut up. The study plan is just extra problems. You click on that, and let's say you don't understand 5A, and I only gave you 10 problems, and you still don't feel comfortable with it. You've done the 10 problems, and you've done them okay, but you still don't feel comfortable. Then you go to the study plan for 5A, and that gives you more problems than the 10 that I gave you. Okay? Study plan is just like the generic test. They're there no matter what. They're there for the teachers that don't want to make up a homework, or they're there for teachers that just tell you to just do chapter 5A. Okay? And then after you do all these problems, take the chapter test on the generic test. So that's what that is. Now, these problems also coincide with your book. If you hover over or put your, it's supposed to give you, okay, it's supposed to give you the number of the book. Well, you have to go to it. Usually when you hover over it, it gives you the page, the section and the number. And it's supposed to give it to you here, but I don't see it yet. Okay, it's not there. Well, it's supposed to. It's supposed to give you, maybe it'll just do it in homework.
Doesn't that say?
Yeah,
section
that's
5A,
it. They started, okay, they used to not do that. They used to do exercise number 1, exercise number 2, and then they'd put a hover over it and tell you what number it is in the book, or like it in the book. Now this one is like number 1, this one is like number 3 in the book, this one's like number 4, and so on. Okay, they've changed that. I didn't notice that till just now. Okay, and that's the. Now I'm going to go ahead, because I don't know if I've assigned the homework yet, so I'm going to go ahead and pick one of these to show you what a homework problem looks like. Now, of course, I'm mainly showing Zach because he's never seen this before, but he has seen WebAssign, so this will show you how much better this is than WebAssign. Here's a problem. I really don't want to do one like that. I want to do one that actually has some math. Okay, anyway. It says identify the sampling method, simple random sample, simple blah, 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 blah. Computer randomly selects 1,000 names from a list of registered voters. Well, that would be a random sample because everybody has the same, it's just 1,000 names. Okay, so that'd be a simple random sample. We know the answer is simple random sample. But I say, it's not a convenient sample. Well, I know I'm wrong, but the computer will tell me that I'm wrong. And you get 3 tries. I think you get 3 tries on each one. And you still say, well, okay, 2 tries. And you say, well, I still believe that's right. And it'll give you an X. All right? Go back to that problem. Or this is the problem. It's going to give you another problem to do. And if you do it right, let's say, determine the following, blah, 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 blah. A study at a university separated 106 volunteers into groups. Based on psychological tests, determined how they often lied and cheated. Those with a tendency to lie had a different rating. A study at a university separated 106 volunteers into groups. Groups, okay, based on psychological tests, those with a tendency to lie had a different brain structure than those who did not lie. How often they designed to determine how often they lied and cheated. Well, it looks like to me that would be an observational study because they didn't do an experiment, but we're not going to get into that. I'm just going to pick observational study, not case control, and that's not correct. Hit observational study and see if that's correct. So you get a good job. Next question. And see, if you look at your problems now, as soon as this thing gets through circling, you see that I've got 1 wrong and 1 right. Well, let's go back and look at the one I got wrong. And a computer selects, well, this time I'm not going to pick what I picked last time. I don't know, but it's basically a simple random sample because everybody has the same chance. So you hit check answer and watch what happens to that X that you got a while ago. And hit next question. and then go back to your overview, and that X turned into a check. So what should everybody turn in on their homework at the end of the semester?
100.
100. Will they? Hail to the no. Because people are suffering from LAD. And what is LAD? Lazy attitude disorder. Yeah, you can't use that word because it's a it's a donkey and people don't like it. So, female. Lazy attitude disorder. People suffer from that a good bit. All right, and that's how the homework. Now, let me show you something else about the homework. This homework right here comes with a question help right there. Now, this one don't give you too many. This is like, now Zach is used to this, all right? No help whatsoever, okay? WebAssign doesn't give you too many problems that will help you, all right? This one should, let me pick another one because that one's the problem is pretty self-explanatory. I thought we'd get at least a decent, let's see about this one. Said it had a film, there we go. This is the problems that I like to give you, all right? Ones that have the help with it. Now, why do I like to do this? Because I don't like to do my job and I don't like to teach? No. Okay, that's not why I do it. Hopefully, if you go to any of my evaluations or rate my professor, hopefully you'll see something on there that says that I like to teach. And I do. I love to teach. All right? But why do I care about this? Well, as a student, I remember that when you're doing your homework, sometimes you can be on number 10 and you can't get past number 10, so you can't get number 15, number 16, number 17. Well, these learning style support systems are for that hump. Okay, now I know your summer semester, I know that B or better students take summer courses most of the time, so most of y'all will be able to do this material. I know that. But if you get stuck, these are the resources that you have. Most of them are independent. This is like a guided tutorial. There's two types of tutors. If you've ever worked in a tutoring lab or if you've ever been to a tutoring lab, there's two types of tutors. There's the tutor that helps you explain, that explains the problem to you as you go through and do it and asks you questions as you go through a problem. That is called a guided tutorial or guided tutor. Some people, especially with new information, some people like that, all right? But some people say it's a waste of time. And they like the second guy, the second type tutor, which is, I'll show you the first type, guided. And it's going to ask you questions as you go through and do it. It'll continue. And it'll ask you a question. When we get into other problems, it's going to ask you questions and do a lot of explaining. If you don't like the guided tutor, then you just show me how to do it. That's the tutor that says, okay, 2x plus 3 is equal to 7, minus 3 on both sides, minus 3 on both sides, 2x is equal to 4, x is equal to 2. That's the tutor that just goes through the problem, doesn't ask you a question, doesn't ask you if you understand it. That's just a tutor, okay? There's nothing special about that tutor. Show me how to do it. Continue, continue, continue. It doesn't ask you anything, okay? That's the difference between those two buttons. Different learning styles for different people. Guided tutorial, just show me how to do it. Video, for visual learners. Zach, you're a guy, most of the time visual learners are male, okay? Because dad puts the bicycle together, doesn't have to have, what does a guy need? He just needs a picture to put the bicycle together. I don't need directions. And then the wife or the significant other picks up the parts on the floor while Johnny's going down the sidewalk with the new bike and asks, what's these parts for? What does the guy say? Oh, those are spare parts. Meanwhile, the front wheel just came off and Johnny's in the ditch with a broke leg. Okay? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Guys do not need directions after you've passed the QT, the same QT 5 or 6 times when you're on vacation. They do not need directions, all right? Because they are visual learners, and that's what this is. You do this, and it'll show you a video showing the problem, okay? after about 15 minutes, it has to download. But if you're on your home computer, it usually goes faster because you're not on a network. So eventually it'll come up, hopefully. Well, it's moving. It's doing something. Shouldn't take this long.
We call the instruction manual the interruptions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I don't know why it's not coming up, but it should come up, and it'll have some teachers sitting there showing you how to do it either on a board or a overhead or a document cam or whatever. I don't know why it's not coming up. Oh, well, it'll come. There she is. Oh, gosh, she gives me the willies. Anyway, let me turn it up so y'all can hear it. Can y'all hear it? And she goes through and shows you how to do it. She gives me the willies, but y'all might like her. I don't know. Okay?
That's considered another snare.
All right. Some people don't know what the willies are, but they're like the heebie-jeebies. Okay? And if you don't know what those two are, then you need to Google it because you don't know nothing. And it's your parents' fault. Textbook. This is for the people that like to read. You know, those people that can read East of Eden in like a day or War and Peace in like a day. I can't read. I can't read the funny paper without falling asleep. So I'm not one of those readers. It'll take you to the page where it's introduced in the book. So that's for you people that like to read. Different learning style. Print. This is where you print out your homework. It'll ask you to print out the whole assignment, or it'll ask you to print out, okay, I'll have to set it. Oh, this is study plan. It's not going to print out the whole. On the homework, it'll ask you to print the whole assignment, or it'll ask you to print just that problem. For those of you that want to work paper and pencil at home, print out the whole assignment. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you print out the assignment, don't go back into that homework and start playing around typing in answers. Because the homework that you got on your paper, if you start playing around with that homework on MyLabs Plus, it's going to change the problems, therefore changing the answer. And that homework that you printed out on your paper, you might as well throw in the trash can because those answers are not going to line up with the ones that you were playing with. So you can't what you need to do is print out your homework and then do it and then go back in and type in your answers. Don't do both, because if you do both, you might as well throw the paper in the trash can because it's not going to work. Okay? These things algorithmically generate. They change order and they change numbers. Okay? Especially with the math problem. These are vocabulary problems. So these are reading type problems. They're not going to change that much. They're just going to change the order and maybe the sentences a little bit, but they're not going to change too much. This is the main thing. Ask my instructor. This is not independent. This is where you engage the instructor. Why do you want this? Why do I want this? Well, this is the main thing for me to gauge whether y'all know what's going on or not. Okay? If I receive a bunch of these on 5A, then that means I haven't covered the material correctly. Or they're using different problems than I showed you in the class. Something's wrong somewhere. You show it, it's real time. In other words, you put on here, if you taught the subject, I would know how to do this. You suck. Okay? And the reason I'm doing that is because I want you to see that it's real time. I'm going to hit send, and then I'm going to pull up and there it is. And what I do with that, I take that and I drag it over here to Math 103 questions, and at the beginning of class, I'll pull up the questions and we'll go over them, if there's any. Now, if there's not any on 5A, then what am I going to assume? You understand the material, and I'm going on to 5C. And that's how you know what we're going to cover today. If I pull If I pull my email up and I got 15 questions on 5A, then we're going to go over those questions. Every one of them, if they're not the same questions, we're going to go over every one of them. Sometimes I've spent in algebra and calculus, well, WebAssign don't have this. They don't have anything. Most of the time I spend 15, 20 minutes on some of my algebras and trigs. I spend 15 to 20 minutes just doing homework questions. And sometimes I've had classes that I've spent the whole time going over homework questions. But sometimes that's what it takes, okay, for students to learn. I know that's kind of hard for some of y'all to believe that a teacher is supposed to teach, but if you click on it, really? The reason they don't have this extended is nobody uses their email in class. Because you got a bunch of tired T-Rexes up there at Pendleton campus, and Pendleton campus is what dictates what everything else is done. So, and they're still figuring out how to use a daggum whiteboard.
Organize a party.
All right, I'm sorry. There are. It's 2017, and we still got people up there that don't know how to use a daggum projector system. All right, and if you'll look, it says. It should say somewhere that I suck. There it is. And see, that's the same one that I wrote right there. That's why I put that message in there, so you don't say, well, it comes up 2 or 3 days later. It comes up right then, and I click on this right here, and that's the best part. You click on this, and it takes you to that exact problem that you were having trouble with at home. And this is the best thing about MyLabs Plus for me, because some students don't like to ask questions in class. And this would have helped you out a lot in calculus, wouldn't it, Zach?
Yeah, it would.
I have, for 3 years, because when WebAssign first came out, I was using it because I was teaching calculus, because I didn't want to have to do the old traditional grading test and grading homework. I didn't want to do that, so because I hate paperwork. So I went to their sessions. I went to their workshops up in Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh, where is North Carolina State?
Raleigh.
I thought so, Raleigh. Okay, I went to Raleigh 3 years in a row for their big thing, training sessions, 2 or 3 days. And I told them, I said, y'all need to have Ask My Instructor. And to this day, for 3 years, I told them they needed to have this. And to this day, they don't have it. They have Ask My Instructor, but all it is gives you a thing, you can type it in. Will you go over number 15? I said, well, they can do that on email. Anyway, and people are crazy. Anyway, so it gives us, it's real time, to the point, and it gives me the same problem that you did at home that you couldn't do. That is one of the best things we have on MyLabs Plus. Some teachers don't even use it. Okay? So, who's got questions on the homework or anything on MyLabs Plus?
I do.
What you got?
Just to be sure, you said we either print it out and turn it in, or we don't have to print it out and just do it online.
You don't turn in anything to me. Okay? What I mean by print it out, some people despise looking at a computer monitor and doing on the notebook paper. Okay? Some people like to print it out. If you print it out, you do it in crayon. You're not going to turn it into me. You're going to do it, get an answer, and then when you do finish all that homework, you're going to go into your homework and type in the answers. And then that's turning it into me when you're doing it on there. Some people like to print out the homework and put it in their notebook, not to do it at home or not to do it the conventional way, but when I go over a problem in class, they highlight the problems that I go over. Then they go home and they look over and do their homework either by a computer or whatever, and then when they see a problem that I haven't covered that they don't know how to do, they'll mark it and they'll say, okay, can you do new problem number 6 or blah, blah, blah. Now, there's another thing I don't like, all right? I do not like to pull up problems with you telling me what problem it is. I do not like you writing down a problem and putting it on notebook paper, writing it down and giving it to me. The reason is, my second semester, this is where I got burned. My second semester teaching in 1995, okay? My second semester I was teaching an intermediate algebra, which is 102 now. And there was a problem that we were doing. It was solving systems of equations, where you use elimination and substitution and matrices. And the girl, she said, can you do this problem? She wrote it down, and she gave me the piece of notebook paper, and I said, yeah. I did that problem 7 times on the board. I could not get the answer that she wrote down as the answer. Why couldn't I get the answer? Anybody want to take a guess? She wrote the dang problem down wrong. That's why I don't like to get a problem from somebody, okay? All you got to do, let's say you're doing what you're highlighting the ones that I go over in class. And I've gone over, there's 10 homework problems and I've gone over 6. And you can't do number 2 because I didn't cover it. Then you go to your number 2 on homework in the computer and you send it to me. And I'll do it, and then you can highlight it, and then you can mark it down as being done. Okay? That's the way I want you to send me homework problems, okay? If there's a problem with your homework problem, let's say that Hannah does a problem and the answer is 1/2, and she puts 1/2 and she gets it wrong. Well, then she needs to send it to me, and in where I put you suck, she needs to put, can you fix this problem so I get the points? And then I'll look at it and it says, okay, 1/2, and she put 1/2 or she put 0.5. Then I'll go into the homework and give her points for that question. Now, that's for homework. Whenever you have a problem, whenever you have a question about a problem, if you get let's say you do a problem, Zach does a problem and the answer is 1/2. He gets the answer of 1/2 and the problem has a question of 5/8. Something totally different. And he's done the problem 8 times and he thinks the problem's right. Then you send it to me, ask my instructor, and say, Zach would put, Hubert, I did this problem 5 times, I got 1/2, and they keep saying 5/8. Could you do this problem or fix the score? And I will do it, and if I get 1/2, then they've got a problem wrong. And I think there's a button sometime that you can send it to the publisher or whatever, but I will go into the thing. If I get the right answer, if I get 1/2, then I'll go in and change that score. Okay? Now, that's with homework. You can send me the question with homework. You can't do that with the test. If you have a problem, let's say Meredith does a problem and she gets 1/2 and the answer is 1/2 on her test and the test marks it wrong, then she needs to come see me after, not come to the Anderson campus. She needs to say, Hubert, I got a question. I need to go over about my test after class. And then everybody leaves, and then she stays in EC102, and she tells me what problem it is. I'll pull it up. She can see it on the board, the whiteboard over here. She can see it, and then she can tell me what she did, and then I can say, okay, that's right, and I'll go in and change her score. Okay? Anything that you need to change is your responsibility. Okay? All right? Does that help with that? Mm-hmm. Who else has got questions? All right, I'm going to take the roll right quick, and I want you to think of any questions that you may have as far as logistics of the class, meaning the handouts, or anything on, because I'm going to go over some more stuff with you Wednesday as far as My Labs Plus, as far as YouTube. Oh, I need to go over YouTube right quick, but let me get, because I want to go over Skype with you next time. Let me go and get into the handy dandy attendance tracker. That's the ones that writes you the email that says you need to talk to your instructor while you're not here. I have to go to 3 different classes. I think everybody's here except for Miss Reinhardt. Today's Monday, May 15th. And Miss Reinhardt is not here. And Miss Shakalis?
Shakalise.
Shakalise. Okay. She's at the Pendleton camp. That's not right. Miss Reinhardt signed up at the wrong campus. Well, she's not here anyway. She's probably in a ditch somewhere. Return to course listing. This is 102. This is 02. I'm sorry. Yeah, that messed up. I saw Miss Reinhardt, and I thought that was Anderson campus. Okay, Miss Roberts, you are here. They did get you in here.
Yay.
And Miss Smith is here.
I'll wait until tomorrow to email if my Blackboard's not loaded. Do you use the same system for 120?
Yeah.
I'm not in 120 either.
Everything. I might have got this out of the Marine Corps, but I don't want to reinvent what?
The wheel.
The wheel.
Don't get wrapped around the axle.
Exactly. I don't need to reinvent the wheel. All right, Miss Marion. I'm sorry. I was thinking of Meredith. Mr. Marion is here, and Miss Meredith is here. Dang, Miss Meredith, you got like 15 names. All right. Yeah. Dadgum, she must be royalty. All right, now, go to YouTube. Oh, www. I'm sorry, www. There's people that say www. They're the same people that say Clemson. Like on ESPN. Here we are today, folks, in Clemson, South Carolina. Where the heck is Clemson?
That's how you know who's local and who's
I know. People that are local say Clemson. They put the P in there. All right, and you pull up Hubert McClure. Never seen Clemson spelled with a Z. Now, before I started recording classes, I did virtual office hours, and that's what that is. So that's the green shirt. That's the office hours, and that is and go down to created playlist. And the last class I taught at 103 was last semester. That's this one. I haven't got one for this semester. It'll say summer 2017 math 103. And it'll probably say Polycom. And like if you want to go over the first day of class or the second day of class, there's the first day of class right there. Now, for some reason I didn't do the video that day, so it's only audio. For some reason I didn't put present desktop. So if y'all ever, on this screen over here, if y'all ever don't see a whiteboard, that means I have it presented desktop. You need to tell me, because that's what you're going to get. This is what you're going to get if I don't present desktop. You're going to get a white screen, and I turn off the volume because I can't stand to hear myself, and that's all you're going to get. So you got to make sure I turn on the present desktop, and that I record. Make sure that I record. I'll let you listen to the last.
February 20th or whatever.
Okay, there you
I will
go.
go.
Okay, that's all you're going to get. Versus the second one, which I remember to present desktop, you'll get the actual desktop. So y'all got to make sure I turn that on. And like I say, every class that I've taught for the last 3 years is on here. So that goes all the way back to 3 years, somewhere in there. Well, this is 2014, because back then the physical year was not the same as the academic year. Now they've got it fixed to where it is. But anyway, this was 2014. Anyway, there's a lot of classes, and people say, well, why do you keep doing that? Well, there's nothing to it. All you do is hit a button. See, back then, you see me here, this is done with a video camera. Before we had all this nice technology, I used to have a video camera sitting in the middle of the room, and I was doing it back then with video cameras. So let's see, when is that? 2016? After 2016, that's when I started doing, that's when we got Skype in. So we've only been doing Skype for a year and a half, maybe. All right, that's how you get to YouTube. All right, who's got a question there? Anybody? All right, does anybody have any questions? All right, your homework is to read through Chapter 5 and Chapter 6, but make sure you read over the sections. Don't be reading all the sections, because you only got to do like 3 or 4 out of each chapter. So you got to have that outline. Does anybody have questions on the handouts? Did you get the handouts? Does everybody have the handouts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Meredith, you got the handouts, or you got to pull them up when you get home?
I gotta get on the email and pull it up when I get home.
Okay. All right. Well, what I want y'all to do is I want you to, one, read and print out the handouts, get the two most important handouts and put inside your notebook, or you can put all of them in your notebook, whichever. Two, I want you to decide what you want to do with the text and get the access code. I could care less about the text. I want you to get the access code. Go to the bookstore, get it with your book, or go online, do the 14-day, 21-day trial period right now. Well, you don't have to do it now because you don't need homework, all right? But if you need the ebook so you can read the sections, you need to get the access code, or you do the 21-day trial period and get on and print out the sections so you can read them, okay? And four or three or four, whichever, I can't think of anything else unless anybody else has any questions. The only homework you got right now is to read, get the access book, get the access code, get online. If you don't have a book, get online and print it out and print out the handouts. Okay? Questions for me? All right, what y'all think so far? I'm not talking to y'all because y'all sitting here with me. What do you think, Hannah?
I like it.
Think it's workable?
Yeah.
I think it's going to take over the dadgum online classes. Because
Yeah,
if you think
I would
about
prefer-
it, huh?
I would prefer this other than regular online classes.
Yeah. And I think it would take over the online classes. A lot of people say, well, you're not going to be able to fit 10 to 15 people in each of these rooms. No, but people can Skype in. See, you got to think out of the box. People could Skype in, and you could have 4 or 5 people in that room, and this room, and you could have 5 or 6 people Skyping in, and you'd have a class of 30 people or 25 people or 20 people or whatever. So I think very seriously this could take over the online, just strictly online, because online science and math is like giving a haircut over the phone. It's hard to do. What do you think, Meredith?
Yeah, I think this changes the game.
I think it does too. What do you think, Zach?
It's pretty interesting. I mean, I've never really been in a setting like, I've never taken an online class, so
Yeah, I was very.
not sure.
I teach online classes. I got 2 this semester, but I told them, I said, I'm not going to teach an online class. We got to start recording. And that's when I started. When I started teaching online class, is when I started recording with a video camera, because I said, I don't see how students do it without some type of instruction. I mean, to me, it's like awful, especially with science and math. I can understand it with history, and I can understand it with like Western Civ, because predominantly reading. But with science and math, I don't see how you do it.
Excuse me.
But anyway, I appreciate it, and I guess we will meet. Oh, I need to make a little bit about me. I have a son every other week. He's 10 years old. So 8 o'clock is more like 8:15. What do y'all think?
Fine with that.
That's fine.
Okay. I will get here as soon as I can, but sometimes he's not cooperating. Sometimes I'm hungover. No, I'm sorry. I'm late. I'm kidding. It's a joke, okay? Yes. You're his department head. He said he was hungover the other day. A joke. Our dadgum nation needs to get a sense of humor. Anyway, he's 10 years old, and like I say, sometimes I have him every other week, and I take him to school every morning. We only live a mile from the school, but it's like 15 minutes to get there, because he has to go in the house 3 or 4 times. I have to go in the house. It's awful living that close to the school. If I lived 30 minutes away from the school, I think I could get there on time. But sometimes I run a little bit late, and I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, I'm going to try to start class at 8 o'clock, but I think 8 to 8:15 is a little bit better than 8 o'clock. Okay? That's one thing I need to tell you. Huh?
I said I have the same problem. The struggle is real.
How old is yours?
4.
4. Bless your heart.
But,
I'm done with those
eight
years.
o'clock. Yeah, 8 o'clock class. To get to school and then to my school
Especially
8
if you gotta
o'clock.
climb that mountain.
Struggle.
Oh, listen. Listen, this is what makes me mad. At Anderson campus, we thought about that and we said, okay, we're going to have 8:30 classes. And the students and us loved it. And it was that way for about 2 years until Pendleton started to whine and complain about it. And we had to change it and then the Easley campus was built and they didn't even have a chance to go to 8:30 because of the Pendleton campus. So the Pendleton campus, and we had to change it to 8 o'clock. And everybody said, okay, well, class starts at 8:30. We have some teachers that say, okay, well, we're still going to start at 8:15 because you can't wait till 8:30. But we'll try 8 to 8:15. I will not start the math until about 8:15. So that way I don't want anybody complaining. But if you're going to complain about me being late, then I'm sorry. Okay, Zach, you married and got kids?
No, I'm not.
Okay, stay that way. Say it like
Don't do it.
about 35
It's a trap.
to 40, okay? Men should not get married until they're 35 or 40 years old. That should be an amendment to the Constitution. Okay? Hannah, you have kids? You
No.
got to get married? Stay that way. Women can get married from 25 to 30. They're okay. Men can't handle it till they get to be about 35 to 40. I should have never got married when I got married. Period. Anyway, all right. Any more questions? All right. See y'all Wednesday, somewhere between 8 and 8:15, and we'll probably get started on some of the homework. I want to show you Skype a little bit, and then we'll get it started on some of the math. Okay?
We will need this, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. TI-83. We will use that in here. Okay. Do y'all have TI-83, TI-84, something? Yeah. Okay. I'd like you to have a graphing calculator because it has most of the statistical stuff. Just make sure it's got a big screen. All right. If you don't have one, the TI-30SX does have some capabilities, but not as much as the TI-83. So if you can borrow one, share one, don't steal one, but try to get one on the deal. Do that. The TI-83 is fine. TI-81, this old TI-81 is fine. TI-84, TI-86, TI-89, which is for calculus, but whatever floats your boat. Yes, thank you very much. And you don't need any graphing materials because we don't go into graphing. All we do is problems. So basically you can get by with a pencil, a notebook, and a TI-83. That's all you need in this class. Okay? All right, I'm going to cut it off, and y'all have a good day, and I'll see y'all Wednesday, okay?
Okay.
All right, signing off, and they'll sign off later, so y'all can just leave.